Hey guys, thank you for joining us back again here for LAconic, another episode. We actually have an amazing guest today. We actually have Big Will Harris.
The
Big Will Harris. And of course, Danny is here too.
I am back again as well.
Today guys, we just want to, interview Big Will and actually just ask him a couple questions that we have for him and, get to know him a little bit more. I know he has a lot of great things to say and a lot of, he's been a perfect add-on to the podcast. We really want him
very straightforward things to say anyway.
Yeah. And I just, he brings it real to you. He's not, sugarcoating anything. He says it how it fucking is. And I appreciate that about him. I actually know Big Will. I've known him for a long time, actually, since I was probably 16.
Before he was born.
We go way back. And,
way back.
And, I definitely wanted to do this podcast. I know he would just, I definitely wanted him to be part of this podcast. And I know he has great things to say. So it's an honor. Thanks for coming, sir.
Yeah,
and being here for us and making time for us. And, Danny, if you have a question, we'll start off with you since Danny has actually was a huge fan.
Yeah,
I was Big Will Harris. So
I'm just saying, when Adam first told me that he knew who you were, I was like, "What? You know Will?" I was like, "That's crazy to me," because I knew you competed on the Olympia stage, and I was just like, "This is insane to me that you know someone on a personal level that has done that."
Yeah.
And then he kind of told me more about you and the way that you work in the gym and everything, and I was like, just even more amazed. But I guess we could probably start with I guess when you first began deciding that you wanted to get into bodybuilding. What age were you at?
Well, being that I'm over 1,000 years old, I'm on my 7th soul now, so that makes me 935, somewhere around there. Anyway, bodybuilding was never the intended plan, but being half Samoan, it's a part of your plan regardless. I didn't seek out to do bodybuilding. It's when you're half Samoan or Samoan, period. As you know, Adam, you're having loose friends that you're born to know two things: how to cook a pig underground and lift weights. So that's I probably started lifting weights when I was about 11.
Wow. Okay.
Many centuries ago.
Yeah.
Goes way back.
Yeah.
Goes definitely way back. I know you're definitely so. Obviously, I've done my homework on you. I know a little bit about you, at least what I can find out.
Yes, which is not a lot.
Not a lot, because he is not on any social media.
He's a man of mystery.
He is a man of mystery.
Hey, I like it. I think it's cool that he's got that little shroud of mystery.
Yeah, you have to find out and dig.
Yeah.
No, you have to ask questions.
Exactly.
Things that people don't do these days.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because of the internet bullshit, everybody has their own what they think is right, and it's a lot of full of shit. So actually, I like to stay stealth.
Yeah, that's actually perfect that we can dive into that.
Yeah, that's your uncle's way too.
Let's dive into it. I know. How do you feel about the new era now with the whole internet?
I think it's
Instagram?
bullshit. Leads to a lot of narcissism.
Yeah. I know that was a big question Adam wanted to bring up because bodybuilding, at least in the days when you were competing,
here's the thing. Let's just cut the bullshit. Mostly, 95% of the bitches on social media ain't worth a flying fuck anyway. They're self-promoting, they're this, they're that, and they're all experts. And all of them are full of shit. Whether you're vegan or, straight-laced, whatever you want to be, it just leads to a lot of narcissism, which is why the country is in the state it's fucking in right now. When we was coming through, me and my other comrades who battled through this, you had to earn your way.
Yeah.
And not only that, because of not having all the social media and stuff, magazines sought you out. So you could be in Ireland, you could be in Mexico, the United States, certain places that these places, because of what you did, sought you out. You didn't have to toot your own horn.
Yeah.
Well, most of these bitches, that's all they do. I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. It's like, really ain't got time for that shit. Because most of you, 95% of them ain't worth a flying fuck. Pardon the French.
But yeah, that brings up another thing. Is like when your specific posing routine on the Olympia stage got a lot of attention for what you did then too.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that really got bodybuilders notoriety and the hard work they put in. Not to mention
Well, the thing is, each time anybody can go up on stage and just pose to music, and it's really fucking quite boring. Mm-hmm. Especially today's bodybuilders can't pose for shit. So when we was coming through, like I said, me and my comrades and ones before me, even Arnold, we understood that it's a performance.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's a performance. The morning show, the prejudging, yeah, that's all you're doing is you're posing. But the evening show is about entertainment. Hell, you used to get people dressed up in suits and really nice freaking clothes out in the audience and actually show up to the Olympia or any other, hell, even the amateur shows. People would show up dressed to kill because they know they was coming to a performance.
Wow.
And yeah, you got your trophies and stuff afterwards because that's, of course you had that afterwards, but you also had the fact that it was like a pageantry to the thing where it's just now, it's just not there, which makes that's why it's dying, in my opinion, which is why a lot of guys aren't excited. As a matter of fact, it was funny, because you got me talking about this shit now. One of my friends, good friends, Quincy, a good friend of mine, lives in Vegas now, and he called and asked me because we came up where we enjoyed lifting weights and we walked around 300 whatever pounds, and that's what it was. He actually called me because some sponsor wanted some younger version of us that's big, and I actually had to fucking laugh on the phone. I said, those don't exist anymore. They don't even come fucking close. There's no big guys walking around. Mm-hmm. None whatsoever that are amateur. At one point, you could walk in Gold's Powerhouse back in New York. Bev Francis's gym out there. And at one point, you could walk around and you couldn't tell who was the pros and who wasn't. Mm. Wow. That's how good motherfuckers looked. Wow. You blended. I was like, whoa, well, you go to a show like, okay, flip a coin, because any of these motherfuckers could be pro. Any of these guys could lay down the laws like, okay, when you got guys like Edgar Fletcher, Flex Wheeler, can't stand that fuck. You had Ronnie, you had, Tom Prince, all these guys up on a rope. It was like, how many guesses? Mm-hmm. I mean, I was at one show, the USA's, where everybody thought Flex was the main winner, and fuck, Mike Matarazzo stepped out of nowhere and whipped everybody's ass. Mm-hmm. After winning that's how good he was. Just so you know, he won an amateur show. Mm-hmm. The following week, he won the USA. He was so goddamn good, they invited him to the Olympia that same year. Wow. That's a bad motherfucker. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even speaking of that, like they even have those all the categories now.
We're not even gonna go into that because that's all bullshit.
I actually gonna go back to I listened to your Steve Austin interview about bodybuilders, how they hardly got paid, right? Yeah, that was the thing. So we're going to Instagram now. Is Instagram paying these bodybuilders now? Is that what
I'm really doubtful. Yeah, I mean, some of them may get paid a little bit here and there, but it was never like it was after Vince McMahon bought the WBF. Yeah. Mm. Into the play, which started actually getting pro bodybuilders paid. They wasn't being pimped out by Weider. It was actually being actual contracts like real athletes. And I have to say once again, thank you, Vince McMahon. Yeah. You're a badass.
Yeah. He sure did open. I mean, I learned a lot about that. I was just always looked at Vince McMahon for obviously WWE and all that stuff, and it's like, no, he actually opened up to He
opened up a lot of doors. Hell, he even opened up doors for football players. He's the one who had the XFL.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
So you got to remember how many opportunities this man has created for a lot of people.
Yeah, I totally forgot again doing that. So, I mean, we'll just put it straight up forward then. I mean, Instagram is just a bad tool for these new bodybuilders.
Well, it's just bad tools, period.
Yeah, because then they can't even, like, you're right. Like, I've had some people that I try to talk to me that they're all this shit on Instagram. Oh, this, me, I eat this. And then you go up to a person and it's like, it's a fucking secret. Like, you ask them a question and they can't even conversate with you. They can't even keep a conversation.
Well, most of
It's
the
just
people,
weird. I mean,
that's all they do is social media. So having this type of conversation will be mute anyway because they have no social skills.
yeah, when we talked about that, how, like, they don't have, like, social skills.
Yeah.
And,
I think one of the big questions I wanted to ask was, people that listen to our podcast, we try to motivate them and inspire them in some way. And obviously, you've done that for many people throughout, your career.
I tried.
And I feel like one thing that really struck me is the mindset that you had to be in stepping on that stage for Olympia, knowing the competition that you're up against, like in general for everyone. I feel like that's an overwhelming feeling for anyone. And how do you go into that? Like, what's the kind of mindset, the daily place you got to be in to be like, I'm gonna go up against all these people and I know I can win, or I've got a shot against them. Like,
Well, I look at it like anything else. Bodybuilding is who shows up that day.
mm-hmm.
Unlike a lot of the other guys who competed, I actually played. I don't want to say it that lightly, but I played a real sport. Bodybuilding is like a pastime, like baseball,
Mm-hmm.
And so my mentality is anybody can get beat in any given day.
Yeah.
So when I was going on the Olympia stage, I didn't give a shit whether it was Ronnie, Jay. It really didn't matter. I knew that what I could bring to the table, and I knew what I was bringing to the table that day. And I just remember, I remember about that time is that I talked so much shit going into that show. The judges thought it'd be funny, and it was the first time it ever happened where the call out, as far as the lineup when you first come out
Mm-hmm.
onto the Olympia stage, it's usually the last two is usually the Olympian from the past year and the runner-up from the past year. They thought it'd be funny, because I was talking so much shit, they thought it'd be funny to stick me in the middle of the two, thinking I wouldn't hold my own.
oh,
And it bit them right in the ass. Because not only was I holding my own, I tore some shit up.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and like I told the interview back then, it's like, these guys can get beat like anybody else. You're human. I'm not.
So, I was just gonna say, so you're really, when you were working towards that, it was just like, did you know, like, I'm just gonna give it what I've got, I know what I can bring, or was it like you had a specific goal in mind working towards
I thought about it as if I was playing football.
football?
I actually said in in the Olympia interview when we was doing the Meet the Athletes,
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, if this was football, I would consider these guys receivers, and I was Jack Tatum, and I would love to catch them coming across the middle and knock the fuck out of them. So that was my attitude throughout this whole thing, period.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout my career in competing. So the Olympia stage was just a bigger stage. It wasn't, it was the cream of the creme, but it wasn't just another stage.
Mm-hmm.
Just like stepping onto a opposing team's football field, it's another field to play on.
Mm-hmm.
But the level of my expectation never changed.
Right.
Yeah, I know he was talking about, you just mentioned sports. Like what, and I obviously did, like I said, you grew up in South Central. I mean, what made you get into sports? Because like I know for like where I grew up at, like that wasn't about sports. It was about either you're in a gang or you're either going to school. I mean, what drug you? What got you to the sports part? I mean, I don't.
I had family members, brothers and stuff that played, which I'm not care to mention because I don't talk to them anymore. But it just was what I was damn good at. And I was damn good at football. So.
No, I mean, I don't have to even say anything, but like Samoans, it's just like they're naturally just born football players.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that's not even a question. We have to even go there. But I mean, I always like to ask this. All the times I asked, the last couple of interviews we had David. We asked him, how was it growing up in like South Central? I mean,
if you're growing up in it, you don't know that you're in it.
Good saying. I mean, I didn't. Yeah.
You don't know the outside part of the planet until you move. Good thing about my experience was I was never one to like staying in one place at any given time. So I remember actually taking buses and trying to get lost in LA. just to find out what the shit I was. I was just that type of kid, and I ended up in Pasadena, Northridge before it was Northridge because there was nothing but vineyards out there before. Anywhere from downtown, which I love downtown because the downtown was vibrant back in the day. Yeah, just and that's how I got to know different places and different people. I just, I enjoy the exploring and understanding my city.
Smart. So that's definitely what I did too. So it's like.
But once again, if you're living in the mix, you don't know any different.
Yeah.
I was in the hood, so it's a lot of times where I grew up in the jungle. So.
And then at what age you think? What age you got exposed to like the gang stuff?
Early age. That's part of that area. So it's not like it wasn't ever around. To give an age, I don't know, 6.
Yeah. What? I know how I got away from the gang, but were you?
I was fortunate
that
some members of the group I was with saw my potential in other things because I probably was the only one that was still in school and doing well and playing sports. And they basically said, "You don't need this shit. We like that you're here and you're a bad fuck, but Jesus, we just, how do this and you're not going to be around a long time."
How did you keep that mindset though? To actually be part of this gang and go to school still and because
it's like putting on a different pair of clothes every day.
Okay.
It's not a big deal. Just like when we got the first taste of when the drugs was heavy in LA, like when cocaine became alive. Mm-hmm. I was a part of that whole change up. And just knowing how to understand how society worked, hell, I knew that driving a fancy car and having no job would spell trouble. So what I did, I got up on Hollywood Boulevard, dressed like Prince like a motherfucker. I was punk rocked out in one life, and that's what people knew me as. Somebody who worked in a punk rock shop on Hollywood Boulevard in Palms.
I know heard of it.
And the place was called the Punk Rock Shop, and I worked there. And then when I got out, changed clothes, back to Big Will, just tea, and would drive. I would drive purposely a beat up Datsun 210. Wow. But if you looked under the hood, it was a brand new fucking car. But to keep the low profile.
Hey.
Wow. Wow. Talk about
incognito there.
Yeah, no. It explains it all. He doesn't show anything on social media. It's
nobody's fucking business. If they ask me a question, I actually let them in the door.
Yeah. That's how it should be, right? Because that's crazy to me. To be able to have them you actually walking away from the gang and stuff, and them actually seeing potential in you and seeing school. Were you do you actually enjoy school? Going to school?
Yeah, it was a means to an end. Met some good people. Mm-hmm. Had a good time.
Yeah,
damn, I had a good time.
He had a good question about your studies though.
Yeah. So I actually saw that you got a degree in sociology and biochemistry.
Yes.
What made you get that degree in those?
I wanted to blow up the planet. And I wanted to feel good about the people I was trying to destroy.
Let's not say that. We got the you say bomb it many times.
That's what happens when you watch Martin the Martian want to blow up the Earth. So, sounded like a good plan to me.
Jeez, that was a good one. Biochemistry is I know sociology is a study because I did sociology.
Yeah, and I love that one.
Sociology,
and I was just learning about culture.
That's hard, big look.
It was something I was fascinated in, and wow, it just interested me a shit ton.
Wow.
I don't know why. It just clicked. It made sense to me.
And you know what's different about?
And funny, everybody else. Yeah. I started off as a poli-sci, and I just couldn't stand the law shit. So I said, this doesn't make fucking sense to me. And half the guys I know are criminals anyway, so
You know what's funny about that? It's like you're exposed to that stuff. As like, I was exposed to seeing cops all the time. That's all we know.
Yeah.
So I went in as a criminal justice major because that's all I saw in my neighborhood was cops. So I want to be a cop. You never.
Everybody want to be a poli sci, laws.
Yeah,
like no.
So you just want to be. I mean, also too, I think it's crazy. Is like normally people they get scholarships in football. They don't go there for school. They just go there more than just play sports. Like
one of the first things when I went to my schools that I did, when I was on recruiting trips, I didn't give a shit about. They wanted to show me this or let's go out and party. I said, show me a library, show me the field, show me the facilities, and show me where the hell I'm living. I never drank, never, did anything else besides what I need for the sport of what I'm doing now. But as of anything else, you can't thrill me with taking me to a fucking titty bar or drinks and shit like that. That's so beyond me. And it always has been. I could give a shit. I never fell into the traps of, hey, let's go. Yeah, no.
Well, dedicated.
Yeah.
Always has been dedicated.
Always been self-aware.
Yeah.
That's gonna keep
and growing up the way you did and the way I did, it's like you see certain elements around you, and I just told myself I don't want to be a part of that.
Or you don't want to look like that person.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to look like him, but I don't want to be in that state of mind. It never fascinated me to be out of my own head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like people getting high and shit, which another thing I can't fucking stand. But I never understood the fascination of being out of your own head. I would think you would want to be in it all the time. So it's never been a fascination to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, I've had, colds and flus like everybody else has, and that pisses me off because sometimes you can't think straight. And I never liked that feeling of being out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, that's a common theme between both of you guys. You brought it up. That's a good point. How you both, I mentioned that when I did my interview of Adam, I was just like, you guys, you specifically seemed like really self-aware, and you brought that up again. That's a good point. It's like you both at one point knew, like, hey, I need something different. I want to be above this, or I know I can achieve better than this. And it was just like that self-aware moment. So it's cool to hear you kind of bring that back around for everyone too. Now, as far as now, of course, you're a very well-known trainer. Do you feel like that has been more rewarding to you than?
I like giving back.
Yeah.
Period. If anybody knows me or anybody has been in my circle, I like to think I was a good guy. I like to think that I give a lot of myself and my time and to help those who might be in serious need, but not just those who are in need, those who are willing to work.
Yeah. And
show me that they're getting the help I'm giving is deserved.
Right.
And is well perceived. So it's rewarding to me because I get to pick and choose who the hell I train.
Yeah. I like that. It's like that.
And so I believe in exclusivity as far as that's concerned because, could I go out and just train anybody and make money? Sure, but that's not what it's about for me. Mm-hmm. If I don't like you, I'm not training you.
Right.
I like that.
If I don't like the way our personalities clash, I'm not training you. It's not. That's why I do what we're doing here. Before I train somebody, I will sit down and talk to them and say, hey, this is the program. What do you think? And just by them answering in certain ways, be like, yeah, no, that ain't gonna work. Or sure, let's play.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is just doing it for the money. I mean, some people are just like, it's just the money.
Yeah, well, you could tell.
Yeah.
As well when you walk into the gym and see who's doing what and how they're paying attention or anything. It's just a matter of how their clients even look. Also I'm one to fire clients.
Wow.
If you're not doing what I need you to do, you're not making the progress I need you to make, that's a sign on me. You gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually like to keep someone accountable and everything. Like,
absolutely.
Because I know some trainers that just like give you this and then they're like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no.
I'm getting my money from you.
I ask. I'll ask, and I have those who I understand like that have dad bods and they want to keep it, but that's established.
Yeah,
that's established. That's just what you want. That's cool, because we get along anyway.
Yeah.
We get along as a friend and cool corroboration. So that's cool. But, and then those who, and this is another thing that is established on the interview, is like, okay, where do you want to do? Where do you see yourself and what are we trying to accomplish?
Mm-hmm.
I just want somewhere to come in and train. And I respect the shit out of it. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. What if you got someone that was like, I just, I want to get trained, but, I really think you have a lot of great things to teach me and I just want to learn from you. Like, will you take someone like that?
Depends on the attitude.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you get a lot of people that where you get to, like, instill some of that showmanship and, like, finessing for people that are competing that you can kind of... Because I feel like there are some, it's very rare, but there are some nowadays that still care a lot about their routines and stuff.
Yeah, those who care will ask me. Those who won't. Yeah. Any guys I get ready for a show, they've actually gone on stage and look like they've been there over 10 years because I take that much time.
Nice, yeah. That's good.
I know he's really big about, like, bringing out the best, like, packages and stuff and, like, people and like, I know in the past we talked about, like, you bother to go ask someone something, it's like a fucking secret. And, like, I feel like you're, like, the complete, like, opposite. You're like, yeah, I'll tell you. Like, I don't care, like, that's just, I'm here for that.
Well, not only that, it's up to the individual to follow.
Right.
You can tell somebody how to do exercise. Like, people come and ask me all the time, or sometimes, and I'll tell them, and I'll watch them, and if they follow, cool. If they don't, next time I ask them, like, yeah, nah, homie, you're good. You know better. So, but those who want to take instruction, and it's most of the time it's free, unless I'm going down their detail with you. But it's easy to come ask the question. I think today, because of that bullshit social media, people don't ask enough questions because everybody's a know-it-all. So to watch somebody in the gym like, some of these guys do the shit they do, like that's bullshit. But whatever.
No, I know when we worked out, like, you corrected. You, like, another thing, too, where I noticed about you is, like, I know you don't like people wearing headphones and...
Oh, I will whip somebody's ass.
Yeah. I know that's like a big...
He was telling me that. I had a trainer take me to Gold's Gym Venice, like, a few years ago. And I was my first time working out there. And when I was working out there, for the most part, like, everyone knew everyone. Like, so when I went there, everyone was, like, coming up to us. They knew my trainer, and they were, it just felt like a different vibe. And I almost felt, like, more pumped than I normally was just being there. Yeah. And he was saying now it's like everyone's got, like, LA Fitness, like, everyone's got headphones in.
Well, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, especially if you're training as an individual, fine, whatever. Yeah. They've been around since the 60s, 70s, big-ass headphones. I seen them go from here in the 70s to the tiny ones in the 80s and 90s, and then back to these huge-ass bowls. Things like, dude, I could have just kept my 70 ones. So,
so for you, it's about if you
respect.
But if you train alone, then you're okay with it.
Yeah.
Like, but if you're obviously we're training with someone, it's so rude to have, like, because then you're not paying attention.
I will whip somebody ass. Somebody tried that with me before. Like, dude, I will walk away from your ass.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what you're listening to. No fucking way would you ever put on headphones while we're training.
Yeah, it's like the rudest.
I've had clients ask to put on headphones while they're training. I said, fuck no. I tell you what, you go put them on. I'll be over here. Let me know when you're done.
I like that. I mean, that's the whole point of going with a training partner, right? It's not to fucking put your headphones on. I mean, when we used to go, it was always about you have to pay attention. Because, like, one little mistake, that fucking person's injured and you didn't even pay attention.
But just to kind of add on to what you were talking to about being self-aware, I feel like for the listeners, too, just trying to, like, maybe they're not coming from a bodybuilding perspective or, the gym perspective. Maybe they're coming with, like, business or something. But what I guess is the best advice you can give, because you put in a lot of hard work, more than most people ever will, in what you are doing in your life. And I feel like that takes a special kind of person. And there's a lot of people out there that are trying to do the same thing, maybe not in bodybuilding, but in some other aspect. What do you feel like was the key thing that drove you all the time? Was it always just trying to better yourself, or were you motivated by other people? Staying true to oneself.
You'll have a lot of distractions and a lot of bullshit out there these days heading your way. stay to yourself. Stay true to yourself, that is.
Mm-hmm.
If you got good friends around you, they should be able to help you guide that as well. And if you're stepping out of line, if it's a good friend, they're going to tell you you're stepping out of line, get back to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the best thing I can tell someone. And as for people hiring coaches, find somebody who's like yourself, someone who's that driven, and someone who's going to actually take the time and listen to what the hell you got to say, and they have something that's good to say right back.
I like that you brought in the cabinet coach and stuff. Like, not a lot of people, they think that's like a waste of time. Or
Well, that's because social media has taught them that
there's bad
bullshit.
people. Yeah.
Well, no, they just showed them that, what social media has done is give people a platform to be really fucking stupid. And most of the, like I said, 95% of the people on there should not have a platform, nor should they be given advice.
Mm-hmm. It's true. I mean, it is like social media definitely has put in a toll on people and stuff in that, and
in the industry anyway.
In the industry and stuff, and
I mean, hell, look what it did to our fucking president.
Well, I think we can go with that topic.
I'm not going there because I don't talk politics, but that was a fucking mess, shit show. So
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's I respect a lot about, it's just funny to me, like, how anyone, like, for myself, like, growing up where I grew up at, and, like, at the end of the day, we get out of this shit, and, like, we always trying to find a way to give back in some way, like, our knowledge, or, like, advice to somebody, because we've seen this shit, and, like, we just want to, we want to be able to, and I see that, and I'm just, like, my own thing is, like, I always wanted to ask this to people, and I love asking, it's like, what's your purpose in life? Like, what do you want to leave now, like, behind now, like, whenever, it's time for you to hang it up? And since we have multiple lives here, I think I have, like, 11 lives myself.
I never left. So, I got dropped off on this fucking planet with dinosaurs. And, I've been trying to get the fuck off this planet. I just can't remember where I parked the ship.
But I love it. I mean, What's next for freaking the big fucking Will Harrison?
It's always something new. But it's something that I will do my way. Mm-hmm. Right now, during this pandemic and all that, although we're steadily coming out of it, nothing's for certain. So until that's completely over and done with, I'm just at a standstill. But that doesn't mean I'm not making moves. Mm-hmm. There's always progress to be done, and it's once again it's a stealth exercise.
Yeah. That's one of the things I always said about you is, like, when you've just researched anything at all, like how you've decided what you want to do something, and then you come back like better than before.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, and I feel like that was a huge reason for me why I felt like people have always been inspired and motivated by you, and so I felt like that'd be a great thing to kind of share with our audience, because I know a lot of people, I'm sure,
a lot of guys, they rush, and they forget about the life goes on after the competing days are over, if they're ever over, because they don't have to be.
Right.
Literally, they really don't have to be. But most of the guys these days don't look at longevity. Mm-hmm. One thing about the guys that I came in with, or guys before me, competed a long time. It was about look at Robbie Robinson. Man still can step on fucking stage. Mm-hmm. 70-something years old. He looks fucking outstanding. Mm-hmm. And, it's like that's the type of thing that we came through looking at, where most of these guys are only looking at the here and now, and they're fucking themselves up so bad that there will not be a hereafter. Mm-hmm. And I think the majority of guys these days do not like what they do. I think it's something that they've chosen to do, but they don't like competing. They don't like bodybuilding, which is why a lot of them you see over the last, I would say, 10 years, a lot of them have lit up and then fade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you don't hear from them anymore because they don't love it coming in.
Right.
I look the way I do now because I've always loved being in the gym. I love the smell of weights. Mm-hmm. It brings up I love weights. It brings up a story, because I remember a lot of the guys when we was coming would love to watch pumping iron before a show.
Okay. Yeah.
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 Oh, I'm gonna get pumped. I'm gonna watch Pumping Iron. Blah, blah. It's like, and I never understood why, because I never got any fascination out of it. First of all, it's all humans, and I figured all humans can be destroyed. I was never fascinated about bodybuilding, by the way. When I wanted to grow up, I wanted to be a fucking mutant. I wanted to be the Thing from the Fantastic Four, because that was much beyond human.
Yeah.
So I knew I could beat anything human. And I remember people used to tell me this, how they, even my cousin Damon, and bless him, and my 2 nephews, love them to death. Tracy, hello. They used to watch Pumping Iron getting ready for a show, and people used to ask me, "What do you watch?" I said, "I watch Conan."
Conan.
Especially
awesome.
especially for the beginning of what the dad says to Conan. He says, "No one in this world can you trust. Not men, not women, not beast." And then he puts the fucking sword up. "This you can trust. The riddle of still." And I lived to that fucking day, still by that same rule.
Wow.
Hey, that's
Because nothing can hurt you in that gym unless you hurt yourself.
Right.
The riddle of still, baby.
Wow. That's some deep
Hey.
shit right there.
I don't know how you can top that.
I know, that was some good stuff, man. Shit. Wow. That's some fun things, man.
Yeah. Well, I definitely wanted to thank you for your time. We're coming up here on our time frame here, but again, appreciate you being here and sharing with us some of your
I appreciate the call.
experience.
Not a lot of people want to hear real shit these days. So everybody want to hear the fake news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true though, but like you mentioned, like you just named off all these greats like Mike Matarazzo, like all these people. It's like I don't know anyone current day that like I could name off that has that same like you
Panache.
name off that like a Jay Cutler or anything that you name off and I know
Showmanship.
exactly. Yeah. So it's true. Like it's when he says the
last one they actually got rid of and they made him leave the stage was Kai Green.
Oh yeah, Kai Green. Yeah.
And you just forgot about him.
Yeah.
Because they didn't give him a shot.
I actually liked him.
I think Kai is fucking great.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he should have won multiple
He's a great
times.
showman.
He's a great showman.
I like him a lot, actually. I met him.
He's a
great guy.
he should have beat Dickhead a long time ago.
I know
But
it's like it was his documentary thing.
No, he was one that was forgotten.
Yeah, absolutely. And
that was their last showman.
Yeah.
After I left, Kai was their last showman.
Are you done completely?
I'm never done.
So
I'm never done.
He's always coming.
So you'll never have to say, "Don't call it a comeback," because I never left.
I like that. No, he's. I mean, man, it's just crazy though. Like all the stuff that you like. I just love the shit that you you live by. I mean, you really are just tunnel vision.
It's a code.
And it's just what it is. I mean,
it's a DNA code.
Yeah, like you're either born with that shit or not.
Well, I don't think any of my siblings are born with it, but I'm not from here, so once again, the human race is a fucking fantasy to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I just like this everything about like you would have, and it's the truth. Like people wouldn't even know this about you if they didn't fucking ask you.
No
one knows this. They just know that you just compete and that's all. But it's like no, and all these other people, they really don't have a story to tell. You do.
Yeah,
like you do.
Well, there's much more behind the Iron Curtain.
Yeah, like there's like you actually have. No, it's just I mean, shoot, it's crazy.
But thanks again, guys, for tuning into this episode. We want to thank again Will Harris for being on and sharing.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Sharing his experience with us.
Yeah.
If you guys want, of course, this episode, a video version of it is going to be on YouTube on our channel. And then, of course, we'll have our regular episode out subscribe to us on any of the podcast platforms you've got, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, it's going to be there. And then you can also follow us on Instagram and on Twitter too.
And I got to give a big shout out to all my other guys that have interviewed me. Mad Max. We've had plenty of great fucking interviews on and off the camera. You believed in me when a lot of people didn't for the Olympia and all that shit. I remember you guys had a bet and that was fucking awesome. Steve Austin, my main man. We still got to go deer hunting. I know you sold one of your ranches down in Texas, but Big Will is all ready to go have sushi and go deer hunting with you. And Matt West.
That's a funny.
When
combo.
the hell is the PBR coming back? Pro bull riding. I always go to the show whenever.
Not a pep
I always, I always go to the show and hang out with my boys when they come to town, and whether they're in Anaheim or downtown LA. So, blessings to all you guys, man. I love you guys sincerely. All you guys have been top notch. Tom Prince, you've always been a number one ace to me. So, yeah, kudos.
Yeah.
And if anyone wants to, how can they find you? I mean, not social media.
Walk in the door of Golds.
There you go.
Yeah,
and
ask for Big Will.
Ask for Big Will at Gold's Gym Venice.
There you go.
And somebody will know how to reach me.
Yeah.
They may even have to send a bat signal out, but they'll reach me.
If not, you can contact me. I'll I won't guarantee you a spot with me,
but he can put you in the right direction.
I'll put you in the right direction.
All right, well, thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.